Oh, do I have a video for you today. As some of you know, about a year and a half ago, I switched roles from a role as a senior product designer into a new role as a design program manager in design operations. I learned a lot in this role and from the switch, truly, but I found myself super unhappy and wanting to switch back. So I did. It wasn't really clear to me that this was the right decision when I was first feeling a bit down about the job, but after months of reflecting on it, I came to a clear decision that this is what I wanted. And this video is not about bashing on DesignOps roles by any means. In fact, I learned so much from being in DesignOps, and I am now definitely one of DesignOps' biggest fans. The work is so important, and I have so much appreciation for my friends and colleagues who do this great work every day. Today, I wanted to do a little Q&A about DesignOps, since I still have a fresh perspective on the industry, and also share why I decided to switch back into product design. I collected a few questions from Instagram and from my newsletter, so big thanks to everyone who submitted questions. And of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram or sign up for my newsletter so we can connect in between me making these videos. Let's start with Q&A. First question is, what skills do you think are useful to have to get a role in DesignOps? First and foremost, DesignOps roles are process, policy, and documentation heavy, but also, depending on the role you are looking at, the work itself may differ. You could find yourself in more of a people and culture focused role, one that is tools and systems focused, one that is more about production or being a producer, or on smaller teams, you may be asked to do all of it. Skills may include being highly attentive to detail, being organized, having strong writing skills, knowing various operational models, managing large budgets, being able to define, scope, and track complex program priorities, and having an understanding around how to standardize design processes. The people on our DesignOps team are also often leading team meetings, so having presentation and facilitation skills would be useful, or at least having an interest in getting better at it. Some example project work could include developing and maintaining design team onboarding, managing design tool licensing and best practices, defining structure for regular rituals and team meetings, designing and delivering large team gatherings like annual offsites, leading primary stakeholders through deadlines and deliverables, creating learning and development opportunities, managing external partner relationships, managing team budgets, as well as measuring, improving, and maintaining design objectives and key results. In my role specifically, it was more of a people and culture focused role, and I was focused on retaining and attracting awesome design talent to Zendesk. I worked on a number of hiring related programs, including our intern program, as well as designed and organized many external design events. I also worked closely with the members of our team to support them with their professional development goals, which often involves helping them to share their stories with the external design community. Additionally, I managed a large budget, which we used to work collaboratively with community partners to create learning and development opportunities for the design community. Who is DesignOps not suitable for in terms of personality, skill set, etc.? That's a hard one. I guess me. I don't really know how to answer this. I will say something I love about DesignOps is that it's created job opportunities for people who don't have the craft or technical skills of design to get a role where they can still be close to the design work. I think for me, since I do have this technical design skill background, that I found the career growth opportunities to be limiting, and I found myself out of the loop with the product design work, which I cared so much about and know so much about. The specific DesignOps role I was in was also fairly unique, so that probably has something to do with it. Hi, I'm editing the video right now, and I just want to clarify something. What I mean by my role was unique is that I was in a role where the programs I was overseeing were for our product design and brand teams. So the larger design organizations. And so depending on the DesignOps role that you're in, you may be serving just product design, you might be serving just the brand team, and then in my role it was both. So that's why I felt myself feeling further away from the product design work than I wanted to be. And again, if you were in, depending on the role you're in, you might feel a lot closer than how I felt. Just wanted to clarify that. Back to the video. Also, if you don't like spreadsheets and documenting process, then maybe it's not the right path for you, but don't let me say that hold you back from giving it a go. What are some examples of other companies that have DesignOps as current roles? Well, a lot of tech companies have DesignOps now. I think Facebook definitely led the way with establishing this discipline in the workforce, but besides where I work at Zendesk, other companies I know for sure have DesignOps include Dropbox, Twitter, Miro, Instacart, Atlassian, Cash App, Gusto, DocuSign, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I mean, the list goes on. There are really so many companies now. What did you like and dislike about working in design operations? What I liked about the role was working alongside other people who were also very systems and process focused. I learned how to document policy, develop realistic timelines, host virtual events, manage a large budget, and work with external partners to develop out programming. I also designed a ton of presentations and did a lot of public speaking. And one of my projects that I'm super proud of, I designed a whole curriculum to teach design to middle school and high school aged students, which taught me a lot, and it was a really cool opportunity. Some of the things that I didn't super enjoy about the work included managing the procurement process for the budget that I managed, which is essentially the important process of working with external vendors to agree on terms and then set them up to get paid for their services. I also found socializing new processes to the team to not be super fun. There are already so many messages that everyone gets every day, so it can be challenging to get people onboarded and understanding of the new process. And then the other part is that I didn't super love learning about standard program management practices in the same way that I loved learning about specific frameworks taught in design. Ultimately, I think I found myself feeling further and further away from that day-to-day design work, and since I still self-identified as a designer, that was really hard. All right, next question. How do you know if it's the right career for you? I think with any career path, the best place to start is to try and talk to people who are in the role you are interested in and ask them specific questions about it. The more specific that you can get, the better. Of course, you can also just try it out like I did and see how it goes. How would someone who wants to go into product design leverage their learnings from the DesignOps role that they're in? I technically had a product design background before my DesignOps role, so I'm not sure I'm the best to answer this, but if you are someone who wants to get into product design through first starting in DesignOps, then make sure you're in a role where you are working closely with product designers. There are a number of different types of DesignOps roles, and not all of them work closely within product design teams. Make sure you read job descriptions and ask lots of questions if you have the chance to talk with someone on the hiring team. Did you end up creating a portfolio to brush up on product design? Yeah, I actually did, and this was really hard to do. The most relevant product design work that I had was from nearly 2 years ago, and I was working on some really challenging product problems back then, so it's really hard to get myself back into that problem space enough to present and make sense of it. Going back through that work, I found myself feeling really good about it too, because I was just like, I was looking at the work and being like, yeah, I was totally killing it back then. I can do this. I will say I did not create a public portfolio. You can't, if you go to my website right now, you won't see my work up there. Instead, I put my work into a presentation format, what I like to call kind of like the offline portfolio. I found 2 projects that I thought was really representative of my work that were different and show different skills that I had within product design. Put that all into that presentation and use that to put myself in a good position to try to get a role again. What are some takeaways you'll be bringing from your time in DesignOps back into your role as a product designer? Okay, so the biggest takeaway I'll bring from this role is a hard lesson I learned in understanding priorities and the importance of tracking them long term. I found myself working on some projects which weren't being tracked properly from a priority standpoint, and I experienced firsthand what it felt like to put everything you've got into something for it to just all fall apart in the end. Definitely take full responsibility for how these projects were being tracked. That's on me. And I will definitely be tracking and monitoring priorities very closely in my new product design role to ensure my work is in line with what's important for our team's success. Besides that, I'm gonna take a lot of my documentation skills and policy writing skills. Like I said, I created a lot of presentations. I'll definitely be bringing those skill sets into the new product design work that I'll be doing. What were the expectations you had going into the design program manager role? What did you miss about product design? Honestly, I just don't think the design program manager role was the right fit for me. I love the work and the vision of the program I was overseeing, but ultimately I missed being close to the product design work itself. Back in 2019, when I took this role, I was planning to travel a bunch in 2020, to visit our various office locations all over the world and cultivate design community. This didn't happen obviously with the pandemic, and the role had to shift with the times, so that wasn't great, but it was something that was completely out of anyone's control. As far as expectations go, this one, definitely missed the mark. I was also expecting to work way more closely with our managers to build out programming, and instead found my work to be a bit more siloed than I'd like. And again, I think this has to do with the unique role that I had on our team. Ultimately, what I want with my career is to be able to help grow a team of designers, and I think I could better aim towards this interest being back in product design. And just for a little bit more context, essentially in DesignOps, not everyone comes from a background in the craft of design, and therefore not everyone considers themselves a designer. This is a little bit hard for me because throughout my new role, I continued to identify myself as a designer and felt a little bit out of place. I actually think that's great, and I love that people can come into the design world through various experiences and backgrounds, but when I think about what I want in my career and how I think I could best bring value to a team, I think it's alongside other designers. It's been really hard, I'm not gonna lie. I made a big decision to switch in the first place, and it was a very big decision to switch back. I felt a bit like a failure, even though I know I'm not, but it takes time to process big changes like this, and I know ultimately this has all been a wonderful learning experience, and now I have even more skills I can bring to my career from a unique perspective. I know a lot of you watching may be in your own career switching journey, and I have so much empathy and excitement for you all. This stuff is tricky and tied up in a lot of emotions. So be kind to yourself and just know I'm rooting for you. For now, if you have any comments or questions to anything I shared, leave them for me below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos about design and career, and until next time, bye.